the Olympics next year will be Kath Granger. She's had 3 Olympic silver medals in a row, decided to now try a hand at sculling in the pairs with Anna Watkins, and they are looking pretty good.
No, definitely. They dominated the World Championship circuit last year, stormed to a World Championship win at the end of it, and is looking very, very promising. And hopefully that silver medal will turn a little bit more shiny.
Well, of course, winning medals is not just the only thing that the London Olympics is about. There is also a commitment to legacy that will hopefully inspire a generation. And London Youth Rowing have initiatives to encourage youngsters from all backgrounds to take up the sport. Earlier this month, the National Junior Indoor Rowing Championships took place at the Lee Valley Athletics Centre. The competitors were watched by members of both Oxford and Cambridge, and the winners are here today, having earned a place on the launches that follow the race. And those budding rowers will be hoping to emulate this lot.
In 2010, Britain's rowers enjoyed a golden run of success. Now watch them take on the world as they battle to qualify for London 2012.
And this is how you'll be able to keep across all of the rowing. We have highlights on the 30th of May, but live coverage on the red button. So that's where to find it if you want to watch all the action from Munich live. Now, some people think that rowing is an easier sport, say, than cricket or rugby or football. Granted, there are less rules to try and learn. There are less things you can do wrong. But it is not easy. Believe me, it's not easy. In fact, don't believe me. Believe Ed Byrne, the award-winning comedian.
Well, with the race day looming, I've come here to Putney. The start of the race is just up there, the end just down here. And right here we have Imperial College Boathouse, where I am going to get a taste of just what it takes to be a rower. The thing I find about the rowing gear, it's very tight around the stomach, yet very loose around the thighs. Does anybody else find that problem? Anyone?
Pull the handle right in, then the hands come out before you move your legs.
Say again?
Yep, so here, hands
it's already complicated. This is harder than golf.
Slide forward, push and pull in. There we go. There it is.
It's easy. Don't even know when they're showing it on television. It's that easy. I'll be there in a second, lads! Well, that's us done what they would call a warm-up and what I could call a full day's work. Now time to head out onto the water.
Okay, guys, let's get hands on. Go.
I've got the terminology down. These are called the pulley sticks. Now I am a rower.
That's quite good.
Hear that? He said that's quite good. That's what he said. He knows what he's talking about. So what drew you to a sport where you don't get to see where you're going?
It's going well because we're relaxed here. Let's stay relaxed.
Should I get my grimace on?
Yeah, big time.
I was doing fine.
Okay.
I stopped thinking like a rower and started thinking like a TV presenter. That was the problem.
Push, glide. Push, glide. Nice and relaxed rhythm.
We're okay, we're all right.
We're still in the game, we're still in the game.
Fine.
Basically, the key is to stay relaxed as the speed comes up.
I haven't been relaxed since we got in the boat. The geese are mocking me. Did you hear them? Does anybody else's shoulder hurt a bit? Anyone?
I hope no one sees us. It's so embarrassing.
Let's have a practice run.
Okay, we'll do a practice one, guys.
I don't want to mess this up for real.
Draw. Draw. Legs. Push. Yeah, boys, we're flying. That's good, that's good. All sides, hold it up. You're on.
I'm good. Okay. I'm surprised I haven't taken my face off yet. This is my fortune.
Okay, let's jump out, lads.
Once everybody starts picking up speed, as they were doing deliberately, it becomes really quite dangerous. How do you all manage to stay so very handsome with such straight Roman noses in this sport? Could be it did sound like I was flirting there just for a second, didn't I? Come on, I'll take you all on! Go on! I regret nothing! I regret nothing! 2, 3. That's cold, and it's smelly.
The trouble is that Ed Byrne has now seen the Dan Snow piece on how dirty the river is, and he's rather regretting that. Oz Clarke, the wine expert, and Griff Rhys-Jones are with me, and the race not far away now. Griff, when you watch Ed try that, do you suddenly appreciate that there is a technical difficulty to rowing?
There is. I have done it myself, and because I rowed in non-sliding seats, at least I had some experience of rowing smaller dinghies, and so I found it not so difficult. But I rowed with veterans when I went. I rowed with a team who were all in their 70s and 80s.
So you felt at home?
Well, I mean, they were so fit and so strong, and so... and we rowed, and I was exhausted by the end, and one of them, the coach, leant in and said, Griff, if I were you, I just rest on the oar when you row. You don't have to pull as hard.
That's right.
You can just do it by just moving forward and back. And
if you get it wrong, then you catch a crab, and I think gets you in the solar plexus, and you're lifted sort of straight out of the boat.
Now, obviously, Oz, you are enjoying the full flavour of the experience here.
Absolutely.
And you were captain of Oxford's wine tasting team. Now, I hadn't realised until I saw it in the Financial Times that there was a blind wine tasting varsity match last month between Oxford and Cambridge.
It's fantastically important. It's probably more important than the boat race. We train so hard for it. Every single lunchtime, every single dinner time, down to the pub, training. The only way you can learn about wine tasting is train, and train
Just
again.
Like rowing.
Yeah. And Oxford are very good at it.
Didn't you do a bit of rowing as well, though?
Yeah, I won an oar. In my study at the moment, over my desk, I've got my oar, which I won, and it's got my weight on it. So that basically, whenever my weight goes up a bit, I say, "That's the weight you were what you were when you were rowing. Get back down."
Well, you drink so much wine, you can't remember much about it, I hope.
I was drinking quite a lot of wine, but not before rowing, for goodness' sake.
Exactly.
I'm sure not.
After rowing.
I'm going to let you enjoy. You're in prime position. You're going to get a great view of the start here, and we are going to get a great view from the air of the whole course, because the boat race itself, the exchanging boat race, now less than 10 minutes away. So let's go and join our race commentator, Andrew Cotter.
Thank you very much indeed, Claire. Claire will head off towards the finish. Dan Topolsky is alongside me now in the commentary box as we look down on Putney Rail Bridge and Putney Bridge itself, and the crews will be coming back. Under 8.5 minutes to go until the start. Nervous times, Daniel.
Very nervous, but now they're actually on the water and they're going through the warm-up. That nervousness is dissipating a little bit, and they'll be reminded all the time, because there are people on the bank as they come through to the bridge to get onto the stake boats. But they'll be feeling all the power there, and from the very first stroke, that anxiety will disappear, and they'll be into the race.
So they'll come back towards the moment of reckoning, and it's time for us to meet the two crews, starting with Cambridge.
This is Cambridge. Mike Thorpe, a clever, talented guy and a vocal leader of the Bow 4 unit. Joel Jennings, consistent, experienced, and reliable. Traits I'm happy to have behind me in the race. Dan Rick Stanley, a promising young rower. His long levers play a vital role in our lineup. Artie Kubash, the old man of the crew, entertains us with tales from his ancient youth and is the powerhouse in the middle of our boat. George Nash, this young ginger Socrates helps drive our boat's speed. Jeff Roth, he's made huge gains this year and provided the challenge and fire we need. Myself, Derek Rasmussen. I'm enjoying my last year at Cambridge and hoping to enjoy my second win against Oxford. Dave Nelson, a tough character from the Australian outback and the man I trust to lead the crew from the stroke seat. Liz Box, she's inspired confidence all year with her solid command of the crew and her smooth hand on the rudder. This is Cambridge, my Blue Boat crew.
Cambridge, the winners, of course, last year. What of the Dark Blues? Less fancy, perhaps. Their president, Ben Myers, now takes us through his crew.
This is Oxford. Moritz Hafner. He may lack stature, but makes up for it in the intensity and grit we need to succeed. Me, Ben Myers. I intend to unite the crew in reaching our ultimate goal, demonstrating how tough we really are. Alec Dent. A true inspiration, having returned from injury stronger and more determined than ever. Ben Ellison, the most powerful athlete in the crew, he provides the explosive force we need at crucial moments. Carl Hudspeth, a commitment to every single stroke, combined with his height, prove a lethal combination. Constantine Louloudis, his smooth stroke and phenomenal physiology are fearsome, truly Constantine the Great. George Whittaker, the old man of the team, his incredible power and ferocity ensure we're always on our rhythm. Simon Hislop, qualified doctor and housewife's favourite, his rhythm, power and drive form the template for our stroke. Sam Winterlevy, a freshman whose competitive instinct, great steering and course knowledge make him the ideal cox. This is Oxford, my Blue Boat crew.
So they are the men of Oxford and the men and one woman of Cambridge, and this is the course that they are going to be heading down with Dan.
Well, you get this first corner here on the right-hand side, just about 2.5 minutes into the race. The inside crew, that'll be Cambridge, they've got the advantage. Coming into the mile, that's a straight there. Crews are now feeling very, very tired in their legs, but they're pushing very hard. Big corner around now, around the Surrey side, through Hammersmith Bridge. 7 minutes gone, another 7 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go. And here they go, back round this big corner here. This is really the crunch time. Along the island, along Chiswick Gate, up to the top of the bit. This is the end of the advantage to the Surrey side, to the left-hand side. That'll be Oxford. And now it moves to an advantage to the other side, to the Middlesex side for Cambridge in the last 6 minutes of the race. Past the bandstand, through Barnes Bridge, and this is really the gut-busting stuff here as they come into the last 3 minutes of the race, through to the finish at Chiswick Bridge. And that line there, that gold line, that is the finish of the boat race.
And it waits for one of these two crews, about to rejoin this great rivalry. And they wait on the stake boats. And a while ago we saw the reserve boat race getting underway, and this is how it finished. Oxford ISIS were in control from just about Barnes Bridge, pulling out a handsome victory and reclaiming the victory after it was Goldie, the reserve boat for Cambridge, which won last year, but a comfortable victory for ISIS, and Dan, a much lighter crew as well, which is perhaps a pointer.
They were nearly a stone a man lighter, and that's a big difference in weight. There was a lightweight crew, the conditions were good for them, there was a tailwind for most of the way, but they were very sharp and very good during practice, and they did a very good job there.
So Goldie still leads that series, but now 29-18. So they're just about ready for the off. A few minutes away, this race, which means so much to both crews.
The crew's just sitting there on the stake boats, just drifting a little bit.
It's an incredible event. It really is.
It doesn't take anything superhuman. It's just working hard, rowing well, and going fast.
You really have to attack every training session. You have to get the most out of it.
Everyone in the squad's got to push themselves to their physical limits. 40 hours a week for the past 7 months.
We've put in the hours, put in the miles, and it's race time once more.
I would say that Oxford just has only inches between them and Cambridge are catching them, and Cambridge Oxford have just made it.
Huge celebration for the Cambridge crew. Just a very quick reminder of the two crews about to do battle again. Oxford, all British, save the Swiss-German Moritz Hafner in the bow seat. They're slightly lighter, slightly less experienced. Only President Ben Myers, a returning blue. Cambridge with a crew gathered from the USA, Canada, Australia and the UK, containing 4 who have done this before, 3 who tasted victory last year in Nash Roth, and their president, the quiet American Derek Rasmussen. Moments away then, and Liz Box, Cambridge in the Middlesex station, both coxes with their arms up, indicating they are not ready. Liz Box, the cox, 30 years since the first woman took part in the boat race, and Sue Brown, who coxed Oxford, and there on the far side was Sam Winterlevy, the cox for Oxford on Surrey. David Nelson in the stroke seat, smiling away for Cambridge.
They're showing a lot of confidence, and they have done right through training. They've been very ebullient all the way through, and Oxford more down, more serious, perhaps more focused, but we'll see how that pans out now.
Does this bring back tense memories for Wayne Pollman?
Very tense memories. We're just drifting right here by Putney Bridge. Crews, perhaps you can see them over my left shoulder, about 100 yards away. They've done all their training for 6 months. They've got their kit off. They've got their hands up. They're almost ready to go. There's nothing else they can do now but wait for the start.
And a nervous moment as well for Rob Clegg, who is watching this. The umpire umpiring his first boat race. Took charge of the reserve races in 2007-9. Rode for Oxford in 94, 95, 96. Never won. That was the middle of Cambridge dominance. And he's watching here. And
get ready.
He's asking if they're ready. Liz Box's arm is down. She is ready, but Sam Winterlevy still has his arm up. He will say simply attention and go when both are ready.
Oxford, ready. Cambridge, ready.
The arm of Sam Winterlevy is still up. He is still not happy. Neither is Liz Box now. They have to be ready. The first stroke is so important. It has to be good. 600 more to come, but the first one is the platform on which the race is built.
Attention. Go!
But they are away now. The 157th boat race underway. All the adrenaline and nerves unleashed in a surge of power, carrying them out around 45 strokes a minute. And a mighty start, and the spray flies, and we're underway.
And it looks right at the beginning here that Cambridge have just got the edge there. Oxford got away on that second stroke faster, but certainly Cambridge moved very quickly into their rhythm. And there's a good close-up there of Simon Hislop, the Oxford stroke. But there's very little in it in these first opening strokes.
And they're urged on by the backs of the Coxes, Liz Box and Cambridge on the right in the Middlesex station, and Sam Winterlevy for Oxford. And past the cries of the crowd and the boat houses, they race on, and neck at the moment.
Oxford seem just to have about a canvas lead here at the moment. They got away well. It was being expected that Cambridge would be quicker, that Oxford had got caught up in a fixture against Leander Club. They've been beaten off the start, and Oxford are thought to be a bit slower than Cambridge. But that's not showing here now.
Liz Box making most of the noise at the moment, asking for technique as well as power, and after about a minute now they start to just drop the pace a little bit, and then there'll be a surge towards the finish again. But already the lactic acid is flooding the muscles, and it's hard work, and it will be for the next 16 minutes or so.
And they're just coming up to the first corner, end of this second minute, and they move into this first corner, which will be an advantage to the far side, to the Cambridge crew on the right-hand side, top of the screen. They'll be moving around that Fulham football ground corner, and this is the first test for the umpire, certainly, because they'll be really trying to take this corner very tight.
Grand view of it there, and they've come out rather wide, and Rob Clegg, a warning for Oxford as they try and cut in on the corner a little bit.
Oxford, move!
Oxford will be trying to take that corner, trying to reduce the advantage that Cambridge have on this inside. But certainly they've got a good move there. They've got a little bit of a lead as Cambridge start to take the corner.
And there was a clash of blades, and there might be again as they come closer together. Oxford again being warned.
Oxford!
Stay loose, stay relaxed.
Both crews! Oxford and Cambridge! Both crews!
That's that bend running out. Right on that 35.
They seem to go wide round Craven Cottage, but the Fulham Flats comes out very shallow water to the right-hand side, so they go wide to the deeper water, the faster water, and now they spread apart again, and the umpire has done his job.
Yes, Oxford had to move quite a bit then towards the left-hand side, towards the Surrey side, and now they're having to come back in again to get back onto the stream.
Well, the first bend in favour of the Middlesex station is worth a quarter, a third of a length perhaps.
Yes, and certainly Cambridge made the most of that. They moved back onto level terms. But now they're onto this very, very tough straight here, about 2.5 minutes straight, leading up to the big Surrey bend through Hammersmith. And here they're going to have the wind hitting them on their left-hand shoulders as they come round onto this straight.
So they head round, they've gone round past Craven Cottage, and they're heading up towards the milepost now. Wide stretch of the river.
They went very far to Surrey there on that corner, and Oxford were trying to get back into the decent water. But that's the ideal racing line. They've got to be straddling that centre line, which follows really the deepest part of the river.
They're settling into a rhythm now, and Oxford certainly have the edge, and they have the big Surrey bend to come.
Oxford at 34 strokes a minute. Cambridge just pushing a little bit higher, 36.5 strokes a minute. So Cambridge under pressure here as they come up towards the big Surrey bend.
You see the experience in the Cambridge crew of Kubash and Nash and Jeff Roth there, and Derek Rasmussen and David Nelson at stroke, and Liz Box crying more to drive them on. And very little between the two at the moment.
But Andrew, you can see how far they are to the left-hand side, to the Surrey side there. So Cambridge sitting really in the best of the stream. Oxford a little bit off the stream, tighter into the corner.
Simon Hislop stroking for Oxford. He's overcome far harder challenges than this, but he's stroking a good race at the moment, and Oxford with the slight advantage.
Now this is a little bit of a playback to last year, where Oxford with half a length ahead coming into this point in the race. They moved up to 3/4 of a length ahead of Hammersmith Bridge, and then Cambridge fought back around the outside. Can they do that now? That's Maurice Hafner, the lightweight there at bow, sitting in the bow seat, and in this tandem rig that they've got set up there. He would normally be at 2 in that boat, but he's very light, so they moved it to bow so the boat goes nice and straight.
Yes, a former lightweight who has rowed at lightweight for Switzerland and Germany, 70 kilos, has put on 10 kilograms over the past 2 years, and he sits now in the bow seat, and he is the furthest man out into the river because Oxford are in front by a third of a length.
Yeah, the race still very far to the Surrey side, so Cambridge in a very good position there in the best stream. But all the time now, Cambridge trying to close down on that corner so that they can keep that advantage. But Oxford looking very calm, looking very relaxed. Simon Hislop in the stroke seat, looking very calm and relaxed. They've got into a good rhythm, and they've got the advantage now of the corner.
Well, as they come past the Harrods Furniture Depository, now rather exclusive apartments, we saw a little bit of a clash between the blades again, and they head on towards Hammersmith Bridge.
Cambridge being warned a lot there as they come up towards that bridge. There's a minute to go to the bridge. They've been going now for 6 minutes. That's the end of a 2,000 metre course. Most 2,000 metre races, the Olympic regattas, that's 2,000 metres. So that's where they finish. These Oxford and Cambridge crews, they actually start their race now around this big bend.
Let's head back down to Wayne Pommen.
Well, Cambridge have really got their work cut out here. This is the beginning of the big Surrey bend, which is to Oxford's advantage on the inside. Cambridge are now facing the next 5 or 6 minutes on the outside of the bend, and they're already about half a length down on Oxford, so they really need to focus in, put in a big push here to keep themselves in the race over the next few minutes.
Well, they're coming together again almost, but the blades aren't clashing because Oxford are almost a length ahead, and it's deja vu because Cambridge in the Middlesex station almost a length behind as they were last year, and they went on to win.
Exactly this. Now the race last year moved rather a long way to the left-hand side, to the Surrey side, and Cambridge will think, well, we did this last year, we should be able to do it again. But Oxford are in a fine rhythm there. They're moving very strongly. And they're not going to make that mistake that they made last year. They're not going to let Cambridge come back on them, and they're going to keep on extending that lead if they can.
So they shot the perfect line by the second lamppost under Hammersmith Bridge and past all the pubs and bars there, and the crowds again crammed in on the bank, and Oxford could not have asked for a better position at this stage, but have they spent themselves too early?
No, they've just moved about a quarter of a length clear water, and that is soon going to allow them to take the corner when they get up towards the big corner going against them to the Middlesex side later on in the race. At this stage in the race, they are in a very good position indeed.
Yes, once you get clear water between the two crews, you can choose whichever line you should want. So Oxford have had the advantage of the Surrey bend, and now if they remain in front, they can have the advantage of the final Middlesex bend as well.
Andrew, in the last minute, they took about half a length there. They've opened right up, and they've nearly got a 2-length lead, and that was very fast.
This is the route they have taken. That is the perfect racing line there, the white line.
They've just been to the Surrey side of that. They've just been a little bit to the left of that perfect line, but it's going very well. Now, interestingly, Cambridge are now trying to move in to try and eliminate the disadvantage of their corner there. But Oxford are now two lengths clear.
Well,
and we're just reaching halfway here.
Yeah, mighty performance down from Oxford so far, and rating slightly higher on the stroke rate as well, 36 to 35. But Clearwater, 2-length lead for Oxford, perhaps more, but as you can see, Liz Box in the Cambridge boat has take them a little bit closer to the Surrey station, the south bank on the left-hand side. Back down to Wayne Pommen.
Well, this is really dramatic how Oxford have pulled out here to 2 lengths. They did it almost in the space of 1 minute. And now they're looking more and more comfortable. They're looking powerful. They're looking in a good rhythm. By contrast, Cambridge looking a little bit heavy, a little bit ragged. They know they're in a bad situation. They really need to dig in here in the next minute or two to make a difference to how this race is going to turn out.
And it is a surprise as we listen to Liz Box trying to drive her crew on, asking for a big push because the experience is there. The Hardy Kubash and Nelson Internationals, world champion Kubash, and Nash and Roth and Rasmussen, winners from last year. They had all the confidence, but they are being comfortably outrode at the moment.
This has been a great move. The strong point about this Oxford crew is they've been really trained physiologically to develop real endurance, because last year they were caught out. This year they've really worked very hard on that endurance. It's paying off here. They're not going to get pulled back because they're a very, very fit crew.
Past the thin, slender island of Chiswick 8.
Squeeze it there.
And a Sam Winterlevy asking for a further squeeze from his 8. And the flotilla of craft chasing on behind, churning up the water. But look at the gap between Oxford, less fancied, and the favourites Cambridge. And can the light blues? It would be a remarkable turnaround if they could come back from here. But the Oxford president, Ben Myers, sunglasses on his head, who was in the losing boat last year, and Alec Dent and Ben Ellison, Carl Hudspeth, the tallest man, and Constantine Laludis, George Whittaker and Simon Hislop are doing everything that is being asked of them and more.
So remorseless. Both crews now at 34 strokes a minute, 34 and a half strokes a minute. Really very, very strong in this second half. They're past halfway. They're coming up to the last bit of advantage of the Surrey side. The advantage has to move to the right-hand side, to the Middlesex side, but it's of no consequence anymore because Oxford can choose whichever way they want to go on the way home. They can choose their route.
It's so hard for Cambridge because when there's no overlap, you can't see and can't believe that you might bring things back. Let's listen to Liz Box again.
Now, go 1%, 10 to 10, 10, hook. Now, hook, flow, hook, flow, hook, flow, hook, flow.
The voice of Liz Box, and she is the only one who can encourage her crew that there is still a chance, still hope of closing this gap. She can see Oxford, they cannot. There are the times to Chiswick Steps, and a 7-second lead for Oxford, which is a big lead indeed.
That's 9:58. That's very, very fast. That was the record time, but 11:47.
Well, that equals the record time, yes. Cambridge in 98, 9 minutes 58. So an amazing pace being set by the Dark Blues.
They've got 7 minutes to go. You can see now just up ahead, the big corner now, starting on the Middlesex side, on the right-hand side. But it's now nearly 3 lengths that Oxford are leading. They're taking a slightly tighter line on the corner there. But Cambridge have a lot to do here. And I think you'll find that after last year, where Oxford really had started as favourites and got caught at Hammersmith Bridge, that was not going to happen again.
Back down to Wayne Pommen once more.
This is where it gets very difficult for Cambridge right now. They're at that stage where the crew in front of them has so much gap that they can't hear them anymore. They can't tell how close they are. It gets very demoralizing. As far as they know, Oxford could be a mile in front. The only thing they have to go on is relying on the Cox, Liz Box, to tell them that maybe they still have a chance. So they really need to dig in here in the next 2 minutes if they're going to have any chance.
Some houses in the front of Barnes hove into view, and there is the gap. Up towards the bandstand on the right-hand side, heading in towards the latter stages of the race, and it's grim work for Cambridge indeed, and Liz Box trying to do her best, but that gap is not closing. If anything, it's getting a little bit wider.
And Oxford at 32 strokes a minute with 4 minutes to go from the bandstand there. They're at 32 strokes a minute. Cambridge at 34 strokes a minute, trying to do more there, but there's just good power coming down from the Oxford boat, which is giving them a lot of travel there. Interesting, this will be the first time that boat race could be won by a crew with a tandem rig there, which people were questioning the choice of this tandem rig, where you've got 4 and 5 on the same side there on bow side, and then the bowman, who is a normal stroke side rower, sitting at bow rowing on the stroke side up in the bow seat. That's unusual, and it's obviously had a very, very important effect.
The difference between the two crews, again, the noise of the crowd roars them on, but all the cheers are coming from those who favour the dark blue, because Oxford are in control as they head towards Barnesbridge. Both crews have to shoot the central arch of Barnesbridge, and only a couple of crews have come from behind at Barnesbridge, but nobody from this lead that Oxford have built, and they are heading towards victory. Barely 3/4 of a mile to go from Barnes Railway Bridge, and Oxford sail serenely, it seems, through the central span.
3 minutes to go from the bridge here. 3 minutes to go. It'll be glorious for Oxford, but even when you're in the boat, you're just thinking, make sure no mistakes, no mistakes. The worry is that you might start to feel that you've got it won and you don't really have to think about it anymore. Every bit of focus will be in this boat for this last 2 3/4 minutes.
And listen to the noise from the crowd as they have sat and waited for the two main crews to come past, and they see Oxford sail past, and then 8 seconds later Cambridge. It has been an utterly dominant performance from the dark blues, and for Cambridge, in pain. It is only pain for them. For Oxford there's pain, but the knowledge that they are going to win once again. For Cambridge it is just hard work. Their bodies telling them to stop, and they don't believe they can close the gap. They can't now. The victory is coming. Chiswick Bridge is calling for them, beckoning them home.
Minute and a half to go. They're halfway around this corner. A minute and a half to go. Oxford are at a very, very cool 34 strokes a minute. Cambridge at 36, still fighting very bravely to try and get back on terms. But the power is in this Oxford crew, and it's been remorseless. Right the way through this race, they've just opened up all the way through the race, and really got their lead at before Hammersmith Bridge and just improved on it.
Oxford then heading towards victory. It is all but certain. There is Chiswick Bridge at the top of your picture, and the finish line sits just before that. The brewery on the left-hand side, and Sam Winterlevy does his work again, shouting, not letting up. They will not let up, Oxford. This has been a race, a performance of utter control. Power from the start. They didn't go out too quickly, though. They've had plenty left in reserve. Not one of the closest races, but one of the finest performances we have seen from any crew. They have kept Cambridge at bay.
Interestingly, that Oxford have stayed quite wide around this last corner. On the left-hand side, they've taken the corner quite wide. Cambridge have closed in onto that station very much, onto that side of the river, and it's this really now into the last minute as they move into the finishing line.
Cambridge still with a slightly higher stroke rate, but into the final straight they come. And the pace, of course, from Oxford has dropped slightly. Hunched figures, tired, but their job is almost done.
2, 1,
and the gap remains. A considerable lead. It's going to be a handsome victory for Oxford. They began the race less fancied, but as it went on, they simply grew in strength. And after defeat last year in 2011, the Thames belongs to Oxford. To them, the victory, the smiles, the celebrations, the spoils, everything is theirs. And Cambridge have what is left. Utterly dominated from start to finish.
Andrew, about four lengths, about 14 seconds there to Oxford. But it was a fine performance right from the start. There was some really mature rowing from much younger guys. 3 undergraduates there in the boat.
Well, in the echoes beneath Chiswick Bridge they collapse, but it is a joyful collapse for Alec Dent, for Ben Myers, for Moritz Hafner. And the cries of celebration are the cruelest sound for Cambridge, because they were utterly outclassed today. Constantine Laludis raises his arm. And all the smiles for Cambridge. The picture says it all.
For Cambridge, a shock, because they did see themselves as favourites. They were very confident. They had 6 men back from last year's boat race and Goldie wins, victories from last year. But I think they underestimated how tough it was, that race that they had.
After Moritz Hafner is clambering his way forward over George Whittaker and Simon Hislop, 2 men who have, this is their one and only chance for boat race glory, and my, how they have taken it. And a high 5, a low 5 with Sam Winterlevy, the Cox. But it is the contrast, it's the joy and the celebration of Oxford, and it is that shock from Cambridge, because they have been a joyful crew throughout the season, and they had that victory last year, 3 of them did, but today it is nothing.
Moritz Hafner can walk up and down the boat like that, because he's very light. He's able just to, he's very athletic.
Well, a look at the Cambridge crew and thoughts from a former Cambridge president in Wayne Pommen.
They'll be very disappointed, and I agree with what Dan was saying about how they'll be shocked. I mean, the Oxford crew, they were lighter, they were less experienced. Cambridge have been listening to this talk all year about how they were favourites, and of course they try to ignore that. But, you know, Oxford did an amazing job, broke the race open on them very quickly up around Hammersmith, and so you can just see the look of shock on the face of the Cambridge guys right now.
As you think about the big margins of victory in recent times, well, Oxford had a 6th length victory in 2008. That was dreadful weather, though, a very slow time. Cambridge 2004, 6 lengths, but it's very rare in these modern times when the coaching's so good and the crews are so professionally drilled that you have a victory as emphatic as that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this was around 4 lengths. I think it was about 12, 13 seconds, and it was it's over 4 lengths. It's a good victory and a very steady, solid performance right the way through. It was just very, very well drilled. All credit to Sean Bowden for putting together a less experienced crew. Only 1 man remaining from last year, so he had to knit a whole new group of people together into a cohesive boat, and it's worked brilliantly for him.
Arms aloft from the Cambridge 8 and the Cox. Ben Myers, Alec Dent, Ben Ellison in the white cap, and Carl Hudspeth. And they come in now to the Mortlake Anglian and Alpha Boat Club, and it is a place of further celebration. The celebrations will go on for a long, long time. And tired limbs paddle them into shore. But waiting for them will be the ISIS crew, who of course won the reserve race as well. So it's been a double for Oxford today, and a double of lighter crews beating the heavier, perhaps more fancied crews.
Yes, that ISIS victory really set the tone, because it was again unexpected, and I think this Oxford squad has had a lot of very quiet determination about the way they've approached their job this year.
And Cambridge sit and respectfully wait, lost in their own painful thoughts for Oxford to land, and then they will come in for a much more subdued reception. But ISIS, after they win, they have to wait with the wellies. So more hugs of celebration from ISIS to the Blue Boat crew, and some of those ISIS crew members no doubt will be in the main boat next year. Victory, victory, sweet victory for Oxford. And down there is Claire.
The ISIS crew who won their race, their reserve race, so impressively. The first to greet the victorious Oxford crew as they put on their wellies again, step off into the water, and a stunning victory. Steve Redgrave and Dan Snow are here watching it with me. I mean, Steve, that was incredibly impressive.
When you think back 12 months ago of what happened last time, with Oxford being dead certs to win and didn't, and it's just sort of reversed, but not just reversed slightly, but by a huge margin. Very, very impressive indeed.
Dan?
Never believe the bookies, never believe the pundits. The boat race is all about that. It's about tiny twists of fate that can turn the entire race.
Let's see if we can scrap a word. Alec Dent is here, the guy who would have been president, resigned because of his back injury, got himself back into the crew. What is your reaction?
I think it's probably one of the first races I've enjoyed, so it's really, really good. I'm really happy. I just love racing. It's amazing. a lot of effort, and it feels like it's paid off.
And did you, during the course of the race, think about everything you had put into just making the cruise?
Yeah, before the race, I thought, well, when it gets hard, what am I going to think of? And there was times where I didn't know whether I'd be racing. I was training, my back was hurting, that kind of stuff. And yeah, that helped me push on. Yeah.
You made it, you did it, and you were part of an incredibly impressive win. Constantine Louloudis is here as well, and Moritz is there, and Simon Hislop. What an extraordinary story from him, a guy who recovered from testicular cancer less than a year ago. Simon, well done.
Oh, thanks very much.
I mean, that was extraordinary. You were so strong.
It just all seemed to come together, really. Yeah, it just happened on the day, and it was good fun. Good fun after halfway. It was good fun. Yeah.
Did you see remarkable? I mean, obviously lots of celebration going on, but actually pretty cool about it.
Yeah. Well, our whole mantra was just to be the looser we are, the faster we are, and it just came off in the end. It's just it worked well.
We saw Moritz Hafner climbing all over the boat. Moritz, come here. I think you deserve a special medal for your gymnastics at the end of the race.
Yeah, it's not that difficult when you've won a boat race and you feel you can do anything you want.
During the race, and I was asking the others whether you have time to even think. When did you know you had it won?
Well, I think 10 strokes before you know you've won it, with that margin. I never dared to think that we could win that early, and it just felt great. The rhythm, we were slowly inching away around Hammersmith. We put in a push. Last year I was in the Isis crew, and we were away, and they caught back up to us. And every stroke I took, I was just like, don't let him come back, don't let him come back. And keep inching away. And at some point I looked back and I saw we had a pretty sizable margin. And then the first time I dared to hope and just put on margins, 10 more strokes, keep the distance. And at the end, you just keep flying.
You can celebrate for a long, long time. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Happy Hafner, Moritz Hafner talking to Claire Balding. The winners all smiles, of course, but the contrast is Cambridge, and Matt Pinsent is down there with the president.
Derek, not a very pleasant moment to come and talk to us. How do you feel after that race? Was it a surprise to go down so quickly to Oxford?
We came up against a tough Oxford crew this year, Matt, and we knew that going in. Hats off to them, hats off to Ben Myers and Sean for putting together such a solid boat, working hard all year. It doesn't happen easily. And I was proud of our guys, proud of the way we fought, but, lost a tough one here. So.
Was there something particular that you feel, even with 2 minutes of hindsight, that went wrong in that race?
I'm sure that give me an hour and I'll think of 100 things, but right now it's just kind of a stinging loss. So.
Is there anything positive you can say about the experience?
Yeah, the whole experience, despite the end result, the journey itself was a great year. A lot of good guys in this team, a lot of tough guys, and the fastest boat won today, and that's what happened.
Thanks for stopping. I know it's tempting not to.
Well, from defeat to victory, and one of the faces of success belongs to Constantine Louloudis, 19 years old. How was that?
Oh, absolutely amazing. The best experience of my life. It was amazing. It felt like they didn't get a sniff. We just stuck on our rhythm, rode away. We all knew what we were doing. It was a perfect execution, a perfect plan.
And how conscious were you lot that Cambridge were the favourites, that a lot of people thought they would win?
I think we were very conscious that they were the bookies' favourites. At no stage in any of our minds did we think they deserved to be. Just off the back of having more experience, we always knew we had what it took. Didn't think it'd be quite that easy, I have to say, but at no stage did any of us think that in our minds we were underdogs.
And has this now fired your ambition? You could row in 3 or 4 more boat races if you wanted to. Olympics obviously in the back of your mind.
It's just consolidated all that. I was going to. The ambition was already there. I think if I'd lost today, I would have had still burning ambition to go on and win a race. But this is just fueling the habit and making me want to come back for more.
It was a stunning effort. Congratulations to you, and enjoy. Incredible team effort. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Constantine Stan Louloudis. I think we may be hearing more and seeing more of him in the years to come. Possible Olympian, I'm sure. I wonder what the fans made of it. Let's get down to the ship, and Sonali Shah is there.
Thanks very much, Andrew. I don't think we need to ask this lot who they were supporting today. You look far too happy.
Well, we're still the best university in the world. I mean, part
myself, it's just the experience of like being here and the atmosphere, a bit of Oxford heckling.
And you're all students at Cambridge. Is this the first year you've really been into the boat race?
Yes. Yeah.
We'll come back next year and we'll...
So you've definitely got the rowing bug.
We'll shout even louder and we'll win. We'll win.
And our friend is in the rowing tomorrow, so Annabelle, you can do it!
Well, better luck next year. We can't find any Oxford people. We think they're probably all in there.
Sonali, thank you very much. Of course, the women's boat race tomorrow at Henley, including Natalie Redgrave, daughter of Sir Steve, but his partner in success over the years is still down there, Matt Pinsent.
Steve Trapmore, Cambridge coach, that must have been quite a difficult watch for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy watching losing or going through losing at all. I'm absolutely gutted. But I think sort of heart goes out to the guys really, because I think they put up a valiant effort. They rode a good race. I'm interested to see some of the feedback from the umpire around some of the corners. But we pushed when we could, and I think we got beaten by a faster crew on the day.
Was there any particular moment that you thought the race changed dramatically, obviously against you?
Yeah, I think the bit around between Harrods and St Paul's was obviously the key moment. The guys were pushing hard, responding to Oxford pushing into the bend, and just didn't get the benefit around the corner there, and Oxford took the advantage.
Do you want to talk now?
Is it a positive experience?
You want?
The second time I've asked a Cambridge guy from the camp. It's difficult with so little hindsight, so little reflection. Is it a positive experience, this race?
Yeah, I think once everything's died down and spoken to the guys and got their input as well. I was just thinking in the launch there, I think if I'd have done it again, the season again, I don't think I would have approached it differently, and I don't think I'd have trained the guys differently. It's a tough race, like we've said all along. We knew the Oxford guys were good, and the result just shows that today.
Steve Trapmore, thanks very much.
It's a wonderful boat race we have seen, and we bid farewell to World News, who have enjoyed the boat race with us and seen the champions, Oxford, take the trophy. And we heard there from Steve Trapmore what he thought were the crucial moments of the race. Let's hear from the former Cox, the Oxford Cox in 2003, 4 and 5, Acer Nethercote, Cox of the British 8 as well. Acer, how did you see it?
It all began at the coin toss. Here it comes. Cambridge tossed and Oxford called it correctly. That allowed Oxford to choose the Surrey station, and they ended up giving us a textbook example of how to win on Surrey. Off the start, both crews away nice and clean, very uneventful. But as they come to the first bend, which is Fulham Football Ground, to Cambridge and Middlesex's advantage, Oxford were pushing hard at this point. Cambridge responded and pushed as well, and they both neutralised each other. But psychologically, it was Oxford who got the most out of that. They continued to push, and they got to the Surrey bend at Hammersmith Bridge. Now, with Oxford on the inside of the bend, Oxford up. Crucial point. Last year we had exactly the same situation and Cambridge were able to hang on, but this year Oxford pushed and pushed and pushed, and we had this moment where they broke to clear water, and that gave them a massive advantage. They could move in front of Cambridge, hog all of the centre stream, and they could wash Cambridge down. Cambridge, to their credit, did not give up. They were throwing down push after push, but Oxford learnt from last year and they were relentless. You could see it on their faces, you could hear it from what their Cox was saying. They threw in push after push after push to make sure that Cambridge had no way back. And by the time we get to the finish line, that gap has opened up massively. It's an emphatic victory, and off the back of ISIS, the Oxford Reserve crew winning as well. Cambridge won both races last year, Oxford have won both this year. Oxford are going to be pretty happy, but Cambridge will come back hard for a classic race again next year.
Thank you, Acer. Yes, emphatic was the words, and the celebration complete. Total clean sweep today with the reserve race victory as well. Oxford in control from early on in the race, and they seemed fairly sanguine about it afterwards. But Alec Dent, the effort he put in there in the 3-seat, sobbing with joy. And an embrace between Ben Ellis and Hudspeth. That tandem rig certainly worked well. And Laludis and George Whittaker and Hislop in the stroke seat. a complete victory, and it is time for them to collect the silverware as well. Back to Claire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed an extraordinary boat race, an amazing performance from Oxford. It is now time for the presentation. I'm delighted to say that joining us on the stage here, Lord Patten, who is the Chancellor of Oxford University, Nigel Rich, who is the Chairman of the Sponsors Exchanging, and David Searle, who is their Executive Director. Thank you, and thank you once again for your support. I'm afraid, first of all, we have to salute the gallant effort from Cambridge, and please, your applause for Cambridge. Last year winners of the boat race. This year, I am afraid, there is no second place. Derek Rasmussen, their president, leading them up. Hardy Kubash, Liz Box, Joel Jennings, Damrick Standing, Mike Thorpe, George Nash, Jeff Roth, David Nelson as well. It was a gallant effort. It was not enough on this occasion. It was an extraordinary effort. They pushed through, they powered on. In the end, they were extremely impressive, and they are the winners of the 2011 Exchanging Boat Race. We give you Oxford. Coxed by Sam Winterlevy, only 18 years old, coached by Sean Bowden, so experienced. Alec Dent is there, Constantine Luludis as well. Carl Hudspeth. We have Ben Ellison, we have George Whittaker, we have their president, Ben Myers, we have Moritz Hafner, who climbed all over the boat, we have Simon Hislop, who has been extraordinary in his recovery from cancer. It is an amazing team, an amazing team effort as well, and many, many congratulations. Oxford will be raising this trophy, as they did way back in 1829, the first running of the boat race, where it simply says Oxford easily. The same could be true today. Congratulations to all of you. And let's have a word with the Oxford president, Ben Myers. What would you like to say about your crew and about what you experienced today?
Well, it's just incredible. We're an incredible unit. We got a really solid rhythm and we came together as a team, and it proved successful, and it's just incredible.
And this is your moment. Enjoy it. Well done, Ben. Well done to Oxford.
Is done. The celebrating can begin. The champagne flows. Claire gets out the way sharpish. And from somewhere, President Ben Myers will summon the energy to lift a fast bottle. And this is what the boat race is about, the contrast between Oxford and between Cambridge. And once more, Oxford are the champions in this great rivalry. The silverware and the spray and the smiles.
And they had their confidence right the way through the year. They had this belief that they were stronger as a unit than even perhaps their parts. But I think that the Cambridge were a little bit undone by their absolute confidence in what they had. I think Oxford were the fighters this time round.
Ecstasy. We saw the agony from Cambridge. It sums up the boat race, it sums up sport. They've got a new addition to the silverware this year, medals provided by Thomas Fattorini, who made the FA Cup trophy way back in 1910, but it's that vast trophy which they really crave. I'm sure these moments are passing by in a blur, but they will go into the memories to be called upon again in years to come, because these are special moments. Ben Myers, who lost last year, and some will come back. Constantine Luludis could come back for 3 more years. But this is their moment. It belongs to Oxford. And a word as well for Sean Bowden on the right-hand side there, the coach, what he's done over the years for Oxford.
Well, this is his 10th victory, and he's really dominated the boat race coaching scene for the first part of this century, and he's really a master at bringing together disparate people and giving them that motivation, that sense that they can achieve more than they would expect to.
And had success with Cambridge as well when he started his boat race coaching career, and up come Isis to join in the celebrations, and why not, because they won the reserve race handsomely as well. It was a very similar race played out earlier.
For a rookie kid there, coxing the boat, St Paul's youngest guy for 100 years, 18 years old. What a fantastic performance from him. He didn't put a foot wrong in that race. Instead of a marvellous race. He spent a lot of time going over this course, trying to make sure that he nails down the exact course, and he's done it very, very well indeed, and took control right from the start.
Well, we talked a little bit about the mastermind behind it all, Sean Bowden, and Claire is now going to chat to him.
He is remaining remarkably calm in all of this glory and all this celebration, Sean. You just quietly step aside and let them enjoy it.
Yeah, well, it was great fun to watch them enjoying themselves, and it's been great fun watching them all year. They've been a real credit to themselves, and they've taken the responsibility for the year, and it's been kind of relatively easy for me to sort of help guide them through it.
For the first time in your very long coaching career, you went with the tandem rigging at 4 and 5. That really paid off. Is it something you would try again?
I think it's something you'd always going to consider. I'm not a big fan of this sort of stuff, but I think this year's always looked like a good year for it, and it seemed to sort of bond the crew, bind it together better, and didn't deal with our not going off straight off the start particularly well, but I guess it could only have been worse if we'd left the original rig.
Poor Sam Winter-Levy is about to get thrown into the River Thames, which, as we learnt earlier, is not the cleanest river in the world. 18 years old. You must be very proud of him. I mean, that was a brave choice for Cox. He's very young, relatively inexperienced, except he did grow up round here, I guess.
Well, he's the guy that I think comes up on the big day, and he's just in his element, I think, with a crew alongside and fighting for territory, and I think he put a very mature, level-headed performance in, and definitely earned his seat.
Moritz Hafner goes in there to help him out of the water. I don't think Sam looks like he minds too much.
No, they're not going to worry about anything. This is everything they deserve to make the most of their triumph.
And you're a guy that is very limited in your praise. Will you actually sit down with them now and say, well done?
I don't know if I'm that limited to my praise. I'd like to think I'm a pretty encouraging person, but yeah, we don't jump up and down. I think it's sport, and these guys don't want to be patted on the back endlessly. They want to know what it is they need to do to win, and that's my job to help them get what they want.
Your 10th victory in the boat race, where would you rank that in terms of how they performed?
This is an extremely satisfying year for us. I think all round we kind of had to regroup after last year, remodel the programme. We looked at everything we've been doing and came up with a better answer. And I think just the way they've come together in the last week and put that performance today, I think this is extremely satisfying performance for the club.
Well done to you, Sean. Thank you. And thank you for all your help before as well. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, this is the moment that the two Coxies, Zoe de Toledo of Isis and Sam Winter-Levy of the Blue Boat, waited for and enjoyed. And there's old Moritz Hafner. He's off and out of the solar system somewhere, Moritz. But he helped Sam Winter-Levy out. And the celebrations continue. Let's head back down amongst the fans. Sonali Shah is still there.
Don't try and put me like
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm with some winning supporters here who are busy celebrating. Surprised you, Ron?
No, not at all. We had a very strong crew, a weighty crew. They pulled in, and it was an easy win. It was an easy win.
Do you guys always come to the finish line to watch the boat race?
We've been coming for a couple of years now. Obviously went to Oxford, actually didn't. Just born there, and it's like, loved it. Yeah.
I'll let you guys carry on celebrating. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
I think they started celebrating some time ago, early yesterday morning, perhaps. As we look down on the placid scene, Chiswick Bridge, and down to the Mortlake Anglian and Alpha Boat Club, where we have seen the highs and lows of Oxford and Cambridge. But again, just that utterly dominant performance, and nobody really expected that, Dan.
I think in the Oxford camp they had a real strong sense of what they could do. I think Cambridge certainly were very, very confident, but the bookies were really not sure at all. They didn't have much to go on. because in all the performances there'd been very little to choose between the crews in fixtures and in tests earlier on in the year. So there was very little for people to go on.
Claire, come in once again.
Thank you very much. Yes, I managed to run out of most of the champagne spray, but a few of it did catch my special boat race coat, which will have to go to the dry cleaners. But anyway, did you? Oh, yes, that's right. But neither us are as wet as those who have got thrown into the Thames, or indeed those now being sprayed with champagne down there. Dan, we talked about how much more powerful Oxford were. Just tell me, from a rower's point of view, how difficult is it when you have one race, only one race in the whole year? Is there sometimes a danger of making too much of it, because you get completely obsessed with it?
You get completely obsessed. It's the only thing that matters in your life, and watching the guys win and lose now, I can't help but feel sorry for Cambridge. I lost this race twice. I won once, I lost twice, and those are the ones you remember. I never think about winning. You remember the ones you lose, you overanalyse it, you think, was it my fault? And you don't realise that it doesn't show that it doesn't show they were any less strong. It just shows that at that decisive moment of the race, fate twisted away from them. Perhaps it was a bit of momentum for the other boats. Perhaps they were so on edge that the